So this is like a little more extensive than we discussed.
Yeah, that's what we're thinking. But it's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing now.
So we're gonna run a beam all the way up through underneath. So I'll show you as I go, but the beam will run the entire length of this room under every joist, and I'll jack everything up. And this flooring is the hardwood floor, but it's also the subfloor. I mean, it's all there is. That on top of the 2x6s. So it's a little spongy. And they're on 24-inch center, so I'm going to put 3/4 inch subfloor over the whole floor. So instead of having to patch this in, I'm just going to piece in over the joist and lay a whole new floor on it. Instead of working on this whole house from under here, which I have done on multiple occasions, I decided to come in from the top. So you can see I cut the floor out all the way down. And then I dug a hole every 4 feet, because the joists are on 2-foot centers, and I poured a concrete pad. It's like about a 16 by 16 square, and I laid this block into it while it was still kind of wet, leveled it up so it would hold it. Underneath the plastic, I dug holes, poured concrete, laid the blocks, and then I used brick all the way up so that the termites are less likely to come up. Of course, it's a treated 6 by 6. So then I'm going to shim up. I've got a little bit left to work with here, and I'll just shim that with wood shims. And then I've stretched the string from one end of the house to the other, and that kind of shows me how much I got to come up. So I've got up close to this end where it's a little tighter. I was putting the jack under the beam, but it won't fit. So I'll get the beam up as much as I can. So basically, I'm just going to take this bottle jack, put it directly under the joist. If your joists are soft at all, or even pine, I put a block on top of between the jack and the joist, but in this particular case it doesn't matter. So basically, now that I've got it where I want it, keep in mind there's no walls, this is just the floor. So I'll just jack it up to where I want it. I'm gonna get it right on the string. I usually go just like a tad extra. And then now I will shim it. And then I'll double shim it. Keep in mind, I'm not picking up a ton of weight. Just let the jack down. And then you can see I got a tiny gap. I'm fine with that. It's close enough because, and I'll let it all set overnight once I get it all, and I'll come back tomorrow and I'll tweak it. I've already noticed a couple places at the other end, like because I do this end of the beam and then I should go to that end of the beam, and this one will drop a little bit depending on where the pivot point is. So I'm gonna, down at the very first 2 joists, I'm gonna bring those up a little more. I'm back to this end. You can see I got a little bit of a dip. Can't get the light right. There we go. I still need to come up a little bit here, about a 1/4 inch. So down here I've got more room, so I'm going under. So now I'm just going to pick this beam up. And now I'm just watching the string as it come up. And sometimes there's a happy medium. You may not have it all the way up, because you don't want to get it too high somewhere else. So I have to keep an eye on that one back there too, because all 3 of these are on here. Now I'm getting really, really close. I'm liking where I'm at. I'm gonna go just a little bit more because it'll probably come down a little bit. And I'm gonna shim it. But basically when you're shimming, depending on how much room you have, your shims are tapered. So I'll put a fat one, the fat end on that end, and then the fat end on this end, and then I can drive them together. Basically I'm just getting those tight. And these are cedar shims, so supposed to be better about not rotting. Of course, they're up off the ground anyhow, but just like to keep it as good as you can. But now it's a nice flat level floor. So now I've got something I can work with.
Okay, so why are your 6x6s so short?
So I could get them under here, because if they were longer there would have been no way to get them in. And then I also put plastic down because it didn't have plastic. I sprayed everything with bleach water to kill the mildew. Ran the dehumidifier for a couple days, dried everything out. Went outside the house, fixed where the water's coming in so that it doesn't do it again. And now I'm going to lay this subfloor over the whole floor. So then that'll give it, because the joists are too far, they're already 24 inches. So that'll help. That'll give it a pretty tough floor. And hopefully we won't get the moisture fixed. That'll be the big problem. Obviously we cut our span down to 6 feet instead of 12. And we'll add the subfloor and we'll stiffen it up pretty good.